Hey everyone, this is Aaron from MTGChallengers and welcome to another Magic the Gathering highlights video. For today's match, we have Alex playing Azorius Heroic going up against Matthew playing Dimir Control. Alex took a mulligan to 6 cards for game 1. Matthew was on the play and laid down a polluted Delta, and Alex played a flooded Strand. Matthew went to 19 at the end of his turn to fetch an island. He played a swamp and passed the turn. Alex played a plains and also passed. Matthew played a second swamp and resolved an Ashiok Nightmare Weaver. He used his +2 ability, forcing Alex to exile the top 3 cards of his library. Alex played an island of his own and cast a Seeker of the Way. Matthew played a Dismal Backwater, gaining a life. He then milled Alex with Ashiok again and attempted to kill the Seeker with a Hero's Downfall. In response, Alex cracked his Strand and got himself a plains, going to 19 and casted God's Willing, giving the Seeker protection from black. This also allowed him to scry, leaving the card on top. Alex moved to his turn and enchanted the Seeker with an Aqueous Form, activating its prowess ability. He then declared attacks at Ashiok, scrying 1 and chose to leave it on top again. Before damage, he cast a Defiant Strike on his Seeker, pumping it up to 5 power and drawing him a card. Ashiok went down to 2 loyalty and Alex went up to 24 due to the lifelink. Matthew milled Alex again and fetched an island with a second polluted Delta. Alex pumped his Seeker with another Defiant Strike, drawing him another card. Matthew cast another Downfall to kill the Seeker as he entered combat, but Alex was able to counter it with a Ferocious Stubborn Denial, pumping the Seeker again. He hit Ashiok for another 5, killing him and went up to 29. Matthew just played a land and passed. Alex went straight into combat on his next turn. Matthew cast a Dig Through Time in response to find an answer but didn't get anything. Alex swung his Seeker at Matthew, pumping it with another Defiant Strike and drawing a card. This took Matthew to 15 and Alex up to 33. Matthew just gained a life with another Dismal Backwater and passed the turn. Alex cast the 4th Defiant Strike in his deck to pump the Seeker once again. However, Matthew was able to counter it this time with a Dissolve. This allowed him to scry, choosing to send the top card to the bottom. Alex was still able to hit for 3, taking Matthew to 13 and himself up to 36. Matthew played an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth and tapped out for an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. He chose to use his +2 ability to bolt the Seeker, killing it. Alex drew his card for turn and decided that the game was unwinnable with Ugin on the field, so he scooped it up, giving Matthew the win and taking them to game 2. Welcome to Game 2. Alex took the play and laid down a plains. Matthew played a swamp and cast a Thoughtseize, forcing Alex to reveal his hand. He took notes, choosing to get rid of the Hero of Iroas and lost 2 life. Alex played and cracked a flooded Strand, searching up an island going to 19. He then resolved a Battle-Wise Hoplite. Matthew played a polluted Delta and chose to fetch for himself, getting an island. He then cast a Reality Shift, exiling the Hoplite and allowing Alex to manifest the top card of his library. Alex played a second Strand and swung for 2, taking Matthew to 15. He then cracked it, got another plains, and cast a Heliod's Pilgrim, allowing him to search his library for an aura. He chose to put an Ordeal of Thassa into his hand and passed the turn. Matthew played another swamp and cast an Ashiok Nightmare Weaver, milling Alex for 3. Alex enchanted his Pilgrim with an Ordeal of Heliod. He then cast a Defiant Strike to pump his Manifest token and drew himself a card. He then sent both of his creatures at Ashiok. The Ordeal triggered, putting a +1/+1 counter on the Pilgrim and pushing the attack up to the 5 damage necessary to kill him. Matthew just played a Dismal Backwater, gaining a life. Alex further enchanted the Pilgrim with an Ordeal of Thassa and swung with it. Alex chose to stack Heliod's counter first. He then triggered Thassa's and sacrificed it, drawing 2 cards. Matthew took 4 damage, going to 12. He just played a land and passed again. Alex swung with his team. The Pilgrim got another counter and Alex sacrificed the Ordeal, gaining 10 life. He then cast another Defiant Strike, pumping the Manifest token and drawing a card. Matthew took a total of 8, going to 4. At the end of his turn, Matthew cast a Jace's Ingenuity to draw 3 cards, but Alex countered it with a Ferocious Stubborn Denial. Matthew cast a Crux of Fate to wipe the board of all non-dragon creatures. In response, however, Alex cast an Ajani's Presence on his Pilgrim, making it indestructible for the turn. Alex was able to swing in for the game on his next turn, taking them to game 3. Welcome to Game 3. Alex mulled to 6 again. Matthew took the play with a Temple of Deceit, scrying and leaving the card on top. Alex scryed for himself with a Temple of Enlightenment and chose to send it to the bottom. Matthew laid down a Dismal Backwater, gaining a life and passed it back. Alex played a flooded Strand and immediately fetched with it, going to 19 and got himself a plains. He cast a Battle-Wise Hoplite and passed. Matthew played a swamp and resolved a Drowning Sorrow, killing the Hoplite and sending the top card of his library to the bottom. Alex played another Enlightenment and left the card on top this time. He then cast a Favored Hoplite. Matthew played a polluted Delta and killed the Hoplite with a Hero's Downfall. He then cracked the delta, going to 20 and got himself an island. Alex gained a life with a Tranquil Cove and cast a Hero of Iroas. Matthew cast a Hero's Downfall on his next turn to kill the hero. In response, Alex cast a Defiant Strike, targeting the hero to draw a card. He resolved another Battle-Wise Hoplite and passed it back. Matthew played another Backwater, going to 21. Alex enchanted the Hoplite with an Ordeal of Heliod, triggering Heroic. In response, Matthew cast a Dig Through Time to pick 2 of the top 7 cards in his library. He didn't hit a response though, so the ordeal resolved. Alex chose to send the top card to the bottom from the scry and triggered Heroic again with an Ordeal of Thassa, sending the next card to the bottom. He then attacked with the Hoplite, getting 2 more +1/+1 counters. He sacrificed both of the ordeals, drawing 2 cards and gaining 10 life, going up to 30. Matthew took a total of 6 damage, going down to 15. He cast another Hero's Downfall on his next turn, killing the Hoplite. Alex delved 7 cards out of his graveyard to cast a Treasure Cruise to draw 3 cards. He then played a Heliod's Pilgrim. Matthew chose to kill it with a Bile Blight, but Alex still got the Enter the Battlefield trigger, getting himself another Ordeal of Thassa. He resolved another favorite Hoplite before passing the turn. Matthew just played a land and passed. Alex cast a Mortal Obstinacy to enchant the Hoplite. Matthew drew with a Jace's Ingenuity in response, but didn't find any answers. Alex cast another Ordeal of Thassa, triggering the Hoplite's Heroic ability again. He then attacked with it, which gave it its 3rd +1/+1 counter, allowing him to sacrifice it and draw another 2 cards. Matthew took 5, going down to 10. In post-combat, Alex played and cracked a Flooded Strand to get himself a Plains and resolved another Heliod's Pilgrim. He searched his library and chose to put an Aqueous Form into his hand. Matthew wiped Alex's board with a Crux of Fate on his next turn. Alex cast another Hero of Iroas and passed. Matthew cast a Drown in Sorrow to give it -2/-2. In response, Alex delved 6 for a Dig Through Time. He then targeted the hero with a God's Willing, giving it a +1/+1 counter and keeping it alive. He did also get to scry, leaving the card on top. Matthew also chose to leave the top card where it was with a scry from the Drown in Sorrow. On Alex's turn, he cast yet another Ordeal of Thassa, enchanting the hero and put a +1/+1 counter on it. In response, Matthew cast a Dig Through Time of his own, but Alex countered it with a Ferocious Stubborn Denial. He swung with the hero, giving it its 3rd counter, sacrificing the ordeal and drawing another 2 cards. Before damage, he pumped it further with a Defiant Strike, giving it another counter and drawing another card. It hit for a total of 7 damage, taking Matthew to 3. He cast an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, but Alex was able to counter it with another Stubborn Denial. Matthew was tapped out, and Alex was able to finish him off at his next attack, giving him the win to the game and the match. So that's it for these highlights. If you enjoyed them, feel free to check out the full gameplay as well. To see the lists for these decks and others, be sure to check out our deck techs and like our Facebook page for announcements, updates, and other behind-the-scenes information. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, subscribe for more Magic the Gathering content.